Welcome back to another beautiful day in the land of music. We're going to be talking about recording an audio track and a MIDI track at the same time. So on the MPC Key, let's jump right in here and let's start with an empty project. So turn on your MPC Key, go through the little welcome screen, and then create an empty project. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our main screen here, and you'll see that we have a few tracks here. So if we tap on tracks and then we tap down on the encoder, there's 4 tracks here, and these are MIDI tracks. So if you'll notice down here, we have a MIDI section and an audio section. If we go over to the audio section, we also have our audio tracks here. We can push down, and in our case, we only have 1 audio track. And then we can check our microphone by going to Input Config, and we can see here that we're not getting any signal from our microphone. And we'll come back to that to set our microphone up here in a minute. So reasons you may want to record audio and MIDI at the same time is if you're laying down maybe a scratch, lead vocal, and main instrument, if you're building a song, especially if you're doing like a linear recording process where start to finish each track, you're not doing beat development or sequence recording. If you're just going to do linear multi-tracking, this is really kind of a common approach, is to lay down your lead vocal and your main instrument, maybe it's guitar or piano, and you record both of those at the same time in tempo. And then that gives you kind of the basis for the rest of the song as you build drums, bass, you kind of build it around the main structure of that scratch track that you put down. Doesn't need to be perfect because we're just getting that down as kind of the main structure of the song. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to record those at the same time. So I'm going to swing my microphone over here and I'm going to put my headphones on just so I can hear what I'm doing here. And let's start off with our MIDI track. Let's set this up real quick. And let's say we're just going to do a lead vocal and a piano part. So on the MIDI track 1, let's go in to sound and let's pick our stage piano here. That's going to load up. We're down 1 octave here, so let's jump up there. Sounds pretty good. Let's go back to our main track here, and I'm just going to call this piano. You don't have to name your tracks, but it's kind of a good practice. Helps you to know which is which. And let's go now over to our audio, but watch what happens. If I'm playing and I switch to the audio, now when I play, no audio or no MIDI from that piano is coming through. And if we check our mic, check 1, 2, nothing's coming through here. So what we're going to do is make sure that our phantom power is on because I'm using a cloud lifter with this microphone, and that cloud lifter boosts the signal. So now you can see on the screen, I am getting a little bit of signal here, but my monitor is off. So I tap on this and now I can hear, but it's only coming through my left side. So up here in inputs, we're just going to tap on this. And we're going to scroll until we get input 1. Because it's a microphone, we want to record this into the left and right tracks. Kind of a mono recording, but it puts it on. You can see the left and the right meters here. So input 1, monitor on, but I still don't have any piano here. So what we want to do is we have a couple of different views here. We can go to our track view, and this lays out all of our tracks. So our empty project did start out with 4 MIDI tracks. We could get rid of those if we want, but we have our piano track up top here and still nothing, and that's okay. Down here, we have our audio tracks, and you're not restricted to just 1 MIDI track and 1 audio track at a time. You could arm multiple tracks at a time and record multiple audio inputs if you were doing like a live session with a band or something like that. And I apologize for the lighting. The clouds go by. I'm using natural light in my window. And it's great when it's great, but once in a while a cloud goes by and kind of fades my view. So anyway, back to here, we have our monitor selection. This is a really nice view here because it gives the ability to arm and unarm, change the monitor to on, off, mute, solo, change levels, all kind of in more of a standard mix type view. So what we're going to want to do is our audio is armed. Now, if we arm our piano, we can hear the piano now, but our audio track became unarmed. So what we want to do is hold shift and tap on arm. So now we have the piano track armed and the audio track armed at the same time. And then we can go ahead and record. I'm going to turn the metronome off, and we're just going to do a scratch take here. Normally you'd want to do that with the metronome on in time because that's what your drums and everything are going to stick to. Let's go to our track here though. And I want to throw just a little bit of reverb on my vocal here. And we can do that right from here. Let's just do air reverb. And we're going to just do a really light, like a basic small. And let's take this and add a little bit of delay to that. And we're going to bring this out of the mix just a little bit more. There we go. And we're going to take the pre-delay and let's check. Bring the time up a little bit. There. It's a little bouncy, sounds a little doubly, so we're going to bring the ambience up a little bit. And let's go back to our main track. So the nice thing is you can live hear what the vocals are because of the monitor back on here. So again, let's go to our track view. So one more thing before we actually record is we want to go back to our main sequence. And I'm going to take the bars and I'm going to increase this up because I don't want this to loop. And we're going to hide this section because there's actually a loop button here. So what I want this to do is just start, and then when it gets to the end of those bars, that sequence, it just stops. It's not going to loop. We're just going to make sure, again, that our audio and our piano track are recording. We're going to make sure we're at the beginning of our sequence. So shift and stop returns us back to the very beginning of our sequence. We're going to hit record and play. And sometimes there's beauty in the night as healing flows down over my heart, reviving when I find a break from the fight. You take my dry bones, call them to life. Sometimes, oh sometimes, there's beauty in the night. Then we can hit stop and let's return back to the beginning. And we can see, if we go to our audio track here, you can see that's been recorded. If we scroll up and we select our piano track, we go to the track view. And we scroll down, we can see all of our piano, and we can hit play. Now you'll notice my vocal is not playing, so if we go back to track view, you have to turn monitor off. Blows down over we're gonna bring that volume down. When I find a break from the fight, you take my dry bones, call them to life. Sometimes, oh sometimes, there's beauty in the night. So as you can see, pretty easy. All you got to do is hold shift and make sure you're arming both tracks, but also make sure that when you're playing back that you turn monitor off on the audio track. Otherwise, it's not going to play the audio from that track. So I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions around recording, I'm going to do a separate video on kind of an example of a linear recording or linear song and how I go about that for my workflow. There's a lot of personal preference that comes in when it comes to producers and songwriters and their process to recording. My linear process may be different from yours, but that's kind of the basics of getting that scratch track down. And again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the upcoming videos. I'm doing a lot on this keyboard, including some other quick tips and the next full video, which will be recording a linear song and talking about multi-tracking and using the MPC Key 61 for things other than just beat making, because I think this keyboard is well-rounded in its capabilities. And it's important that we explore all of those capabilities. And we're doing it together. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Stay inspired and keep making that music.